Mayor?
Mr. Chairman, a couple items. One, the NOACA is sending it to their RTIS, one of the subcommittees that this goes through, and it is possible that they can make the full determination at that committee meeting, in which case we would know on June 16th. Depending on how they reallocate funds, it will probably be more likely to require full governing board approval, which would be at the following governing board meeting, which would be July 10th. So it's very likely we may not have a decision until that meeting. So that's one thing to understand. Secondly, assuming worst case scenario that we are on the hook for the whole $1.8 million, I guess we can look at it from that perspective. Assuming we're on for the whole $1.8 million, how would that affect this decision? And I would say that we have to get this slope stabilization done. To the extent we push it off, it's going to cost it's going to cost us more money. Pushing this off will cost us more money. The variable, the question is whether we're going to be on for the 1.8 million or more in the neighborhood of $100,000. Now, from a cash flow perspective, the project is, as far as funds to be paid that have not been paid, as I recall, Mr. Mogi, correct me if I'm wrong here, about a little over $20 million to be paid, and so far what has been paid is around $14 million. And those funds are being paid out of NOACA funds, the State Infrastructure Bank Loan, and ODOT funds, the line items 29, 30, and 31. That's what adds up to the 20 million. 14 of that has been spent. So there's funds within those already arranged funding streams of $6 million yet available. So these funds will be paid yet out of those already funds before we're going to have to tap into that, what could be his worst case scenario of $1.8 million.
One thing I do mention here, and one thing I want to bring to notice the council, that way back in probably 3-4 months ago, when we were going through all these change orders, at one time I have presented this funding details. This was March dated 19th, and this is pretty much identical to what I'm submitting at this time. At the bottom you can see that the additional request for stimulus money was 1.753 at that time, and this was what was presented to council at that time. So it's not something I'm bringing just today. I have been informing council time to time how the funding of this project is going through. So what I mean to say is this is not the first time I came to council and telling you that we have $1.8 million problem here. This has been brought before, and this was submitted before to council and to various even agencies. This was again submitted to NOACA for the request of funds.
Yes, Mr. Gibbs.
Yeah, I think through you, Mr. Chairman, I mean, yeah, you kept us abreast of things, but money and things have worsened, has downturned. But also, I'll make a comment. When you look at your line item, it's not showing there, but if you move it up, you'll see that your city's additional cost more than doubled.
Yes.
Right here, you're projecting 745,000, which is to me a big figure, but it's more than doubled at 1.8 million now. So. No, I stand corrected. Actually, that 745, it's considering that NOACA is going to pay 80% of the total share, which is 16.688. They only allocated 15.68 actually. So this is actually, if you go to the bottom, that's a figure which we are requesting for the stimulus money, and that's a figure. I'm sorry for. And I've got
at the bottom, you can see that 1.7. That's the additional request from stimulus money. That was that is the one which matched with $1.8 million. That's what we should look at it.
one other question, Mr. Chairman, through you to the law director. I know we discussed at one time, do change orders come through your office for any type of a fine reading of you know, whose responsibility, who's liable?
Generally not.
Any other discussion? Okay, now what is the pleasure of the committee? Mr. Gibbs has suggested.
I'd make a motion to, and I don't see an issue of it. I mean, you still have good weather, you still have good building weather. I know you said that you're gonna have to maybe deploy, you know, equipment, bring it back into the area, whatever to do it. But I personally would like to see it tabled till the next meeting in June or whenever you're gonna have a finance meeting.
Mr. Chairman, before that's acted on, because if there's a second, then the discussion's over here. It will cost us more money. We delay this project, just so council's fully aware. We delay this project by past this council meeting, unless you have another meeting on the day, June 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, this will almost for sure cost us more money.
But
We're willing to roll the dice and accept that, that's fine, but it will cost more money for the city to do that. And I caution you on this in that waiting is not going to change anything. It's not going to put us in a more favorable position. Waiting will only put us in a less favorable position. There's no advantage to waiting. We may have a better idea whether NOACA comes through for the 1.7 million or not, but it will not help in the overall cost.
Go ahead, Kurt.
My comments are a little bit on what Pete had touched on, and that was, I think we're too soft with suppliers. To take an attitude that $200,000 isn't a lot of money, I have an issue with. We should be concerned about it if it's $1 or $5. And I think we're too soft. I'm going to tell you that. And I think we need to go back to the drawing board with some of these suppliers. And I'm going to tell you, there's going to be people out there that want to work no matter what the economy is, even if it wasn't as bad as it currently is. There's people out there that are willing to negotiate, to work and do a job and to try to come up with some alternatives, whatever in regards to it. I personally feel, I've seen it time and time again, I'm sure Mr. Tanner has and Mr. Bullocks has, been up here a number of years, that we are too soft with suppliers. We do not stand our line on responsibility. That's my feeling.
I would say, you know, that's your opinion, but there's no basis for that. There's no basis whatsoever. We have our engineering team, we have our project management team with Katie McCartney, as Brian gave you a very detailed explanation of how this has gone about, where they sought 3 proposals from companies. They got the lowest one and they beat them down further, another $40,000. At the same time, when cost of materials has been going up, if you're going to wait, at this point, the next scheduled council meeting is July, I don't know, Spike? July 7th. So we're talking another month, July 6th or 7th, an additional month, of which the asphalt on the road pavement above will not commence until so many weeks after the slope stabilization is completed before they'll even finish the paving. In the meantime, we've been watching at the pumps and the price of oil. Cost of asphalt is rising right now, and the longer it is delayed on those purchases of those asphalt, it's only going to work to our disadvantage. So I just want to make it clear, I am putting everyone in this room on full notice that we are more likely to delay to cost the city more money instead of less. If you want to roll the dice and based on your feelings that we don't beat up the contractors enough, what have you, that's fine. If you want to put the city's funds in jeopardy based on that, that's your call. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm done.